Hi folks, Jim Simpson here. This video is going to go out to three different target audiences. There's people who are interested in the audio and video recording properties of the latest LG smartphones, the LG V30, V35, and LG G7. These are all related, and these are dated from late 2017 to early 2018. It's June of 2018 as I make this video. People who are interested in on-body covert video and audio recording with a smartphone are also going to be interested in what we have to show you here. Welcome to my office, by the way. I'm driving a big rig. And that's important because the third audience for this is going to be truckers. Here's what happened. When I bought my V30 phone, I was pretty sure it was going to be a good phone for use in covert audio and video recording. I'm a political activist as well as being a trucker, and I've done some things like election monitoring and so-called cop watching in the past, and I'm interested in using modern smartphones for the main video recording, audio recording in these kinds of cases. Well, I thought the V30 would be good for that, especially putting it in my own custom little leather belt case that I make for every phone I've owned for quite a few years now. I'm going to show you still images right now of what that currently looks like for the V30. And it's also going to be of interest to truckers because I thought I was going to be making a theoretical video on use of V30 for on-body recording, but then somebody tried to scam me in the trucking business and tried to rip me off, and I did actual recording of the situation at the time and busted the scam and got the broker to apologize and pay me $65 the next day for even having to go through all this. And at the very end, I'll talk about the trucking industry aspects of what happened. It's called the broken pallet jack scam. Famous from lumpers everywhere. And if you're not a trucker, you don't know what a lumper is, don't worry about it. But be aware that the video I'm about to show you, I'm about to cut to right now, was taken about 2 weeks ago at like 2 o'clock in the morning at a grocery distribution center. It was a very loud place, and because I was recording at my belt, I needed as wide an angle view as possible. Well, the LG V30 has two critical features that play into this video. It has a widescreen recording mode. And I'm not using the selfie cam at this point. I've got it turned around so that the main cameras, both two of them, are pointed out at the outside world. And I'm using the widescreen camera in this next shot. The V30's also got another interesting feature where in a noisy environment, it'll take the main speaker on the phone and wire it backwards so that it's a super boosted microphone. So for something like an outdoor concert or a political rally, or you're trying to record audio out in public in adverse conditions, the V30 kicks butt in that mode, and you're going to see a real-world example of that. Actually, you're hearing a real-world example right now. At the moment, I'm driving a semi, and I have no microphone on other than the one built into the phone. So, you're actually getting an example right now of its audio capabilities. So let me cut right now to the video of the scam in operation, and I'll see you back here in a second. Is there a manager around?
Need.
What's that?
Need.
I need a hand jack that can actually unload those. The forks here.
That's what I just told you, that there wasn't none available. I just told you.
Okay. And that particular game of only we get to unload it, the driver cannot unload it, has been banned federally. It's not legal. Okay? I need to speak to a manager.
Xander, can you come to 71?
Hey Craig, where's Cole? Man, I never seen something better. What's a racket?
Alright, he over on my side.
Over on your side? I'm gonna need a bottle of water. I'm gonna talk. 39 full with that door. I got it fit as best I can, but it's still locked halfway. You know what I mean?
Let go.
Alright. Are you manager by chance?
Yeah.
Okay. Where's the hand cart that'll fit those forks? So, my problem is...
Well, we actually have one, but it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work.
Okay. My problem is this. I was set up for a 2 a.m. delivery. Everybody in a very small trucking company has gone to sleep.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
Okay.
I wish I was.
The broker did not tell any of us that there was a lumber fee.
Okay, you know what? Don't worry about it. Craig, unloading the Aldi's.
Okay? Thank you.
You're taking care of it. Don't worry about it.
All right. Appreciate it, ma'am. The paperwork's right...
Unloading the Aldi's.
Ma'am, the paperwork's on top of the button assembly. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to take my straps in. Will somebody come out, or I just wait for...
Wait for the green light out there.
And then come back in. No problem. Thank you. Okay, we're back. So what you saw was a very wide field of view so that I could get good images of people's faces, even from belt mount, and nobody present other than me had any idea I was recording audio and video. And this was, by the way, at an Aldi distribution center in Olathe, Kansas. Kansas is a one-party recording state, so that's important for legal reasons. It was absolutely legal for me to do this. LG has 3 different phones with similar features, all featuring wide-angle cameras. The V35 just came out, and so far it is an AT&T branded part number only. It may migrate to the T-Mobile network where I'm at later, maybe. It has the same super boosted microphone capabilities as the V30, which is good. It also has a faster CPU. It's got the Snapdragon 845 CPU instead of the 835 on the older V30. They share the same screen. The camera is a little bit different. Although the V30 has a widescreen mode, it's not as wide as the V30s. The V35 has a slightly narrower field of view to eliminate barrel effect at the outer corners. Basically, the V35, if you look carefully at the corners in that last clip you saw, using maximum widescreen, there's a little bit of this distorted barrel effect at the corners. Take another look if you want, you can see it. But the V35 has the super boosted microphone. Now, the LG G7 came out before the V35. It is a very similar phone to the V30 in some ways. It has the Snapdragon 845 CPU. It was the first phone to get the widescreen that's not quite as wide, but less distortion. That got copied over to the V35, which came a little later. But the G7 does not have the super boosted microphone for maximum public audio recording. And so that to me is a problem. Right now, if I'm on, well, I am on the T-Mobile network and I like it there. I'm not going to switch. So for me, because of both the widescreen capabilities and the super boosted microphone, the V30 is the best phone I can own right now for public covert on-body audio and video recording. Now, let me talk to my trucker bros for a second here. The particular scam you saw is called the broken pallet jack scam. When you go into some place where you are required by the contract to unload the truck, you end up with 2 choices. You can either pay for something called a private dock management company. They're also known as lumpers, is what truckers call them. Lumpers are people that, in this case, don't work for Aldi. They're hired by Aldi to unload the trucks, but they charge the truckers. Now, that's perfectly legal, but under a set of federal rules, you have to be able to avoid the lumper fee as a trucker. If you want to avoid the lumper fee and unload the truck yourself, you got to use a pallet jack instead of a forklift, because you're probably not qualified to drive a forklift. I know I'm not, no question. So they give you this hand jack. I'll show a picture of one right now. That is basically, you slide it under a pallet and pump it a few times, and it lifts the pallet a few inches up off the deck, close enough so you can drag the pallet off the truck, and now, bingo, you've got it on the dock. Well, in this case, I get to the distribution center at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I wasn't told that there was lumpers and unloading fees and all that sort of thing. The broker on the deal forgot to tell me those details. Not good. So they won't take a check, except for something called an EFS check, which is a financial instrument found only in trucking. EFS com check, two versions of the same concept. So they'll only take an EFS check or cash. Well, I didn't have cash on me. I couldn't pay with a credit card because they know you can just reverse that charge later and there's nothing they can do about it. So I said, okay, the only way I can get an EFS check is to call my boss at my small little 40-person trucking company at 2 o'clock in the morning. Would you want to call your boss at 2 o'clock in the morning to deal with this crap? Right? Wake him up? No, I don't think so. I like my boss. He's a nice boss, so no. So I said, okay, where's the pallet jack? I'll just drag this stuff off the truck myself. It wasn't a very heavy load. Each pallet was fairly light. I'm a big guy. I'm loaded in 15 minutes tops. I'd rather do that than bug my boss at 2 a.m. over 65 bucks. And the first thing they say, oh, sorry, our pallet jack is broken. No, it's not. No, it's that we want you to pay us. We the lumpers. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. There's no Aldi people there. Everybody you see in this video that's not me is from the lumping company. And they want that 65 bucks, of course. Idiots. So finally, when I confronted the manager at the lumping company with federal rules, hey, you can't do this. Lumping is an option, not mandatory. And they said, yeah, okay, fine. We'll unload it for free for you, and we'll bill Aldi in the morning. Great. Walked away. Okay. In a link down below this video, you will find a reference to the federal rules that actually exist on this subject. That most of the federal rules are not there to protect truckers. They're to protect everybody else from truckers. Make sure we get enough sleep, things like that. But in this case, they actually put in a rule to protect truckers from lumping scams. And this is the classic one, broken pallet jack, sorry. So, to everybody else, what you're seeing is a real-world example of documenting a scam with a covert on-body camera that nobody had any idea was there. For us truckers, this particular instance wasn't safety related, so there was only, less than $100 involved. No, it wasn't that big a deal. But in trucking, there are rules preventing trucking companies and brokers and shippers and receivers, those four groups of people, from telling a trucker to do something that's illegal. Run when you don't have legal hours to run in, run on a broken truck, break the law by speeding. If they tell you to break the law, it's huge money. Now we're talking fines payable into the trucker's pocket, starting at $25,000 and going radically up from there. Oops. So your ability to document something like that could be crucial to keeping your job and being able to make these lunatics pay when they do things like that. And it's chronic enough in the trucking business that everybody wants truckers to break the law that there's something called the FMCSA coercion rule. And I'll link to that down below as well. If you're not a trucker watching this because you're interested in phones, be aware that you want truckers to obey the law. You want truckers to act legally and responsibly and not be pressured by some dick behind a desk on this stuff. because we're driving up to 80,000 pounds of rolling chaos in these things. Until you get behind the wheel of one of these big bad boys, you have no idea how dangerous they are. You don't want us driving tired. You don't want us driving on bad brakes or anything remotely like that. So, yeah, this has been a real-world examination of what it looks like to bust a scam with a cell phone used as an on-body recorder. Now, could you use something other than an LG V30 and its cousins kind of phone? Well, sure you can. But they're not going to be as good because you're not going to have as wide a field of view. You're not going to have that super boosted microphone. I've seen videos taken by various political activists using lesser grade phones, and you often get wind noise, or it's if other people are talking, it all gets blasted out. Or if they're too far from the microphone, you can't hear anything but mumble mumble. It sounds like, you know, the background adults in a Peanuts cartoon on TV or something like that. I was extremely impressed with how the V30 handled that situation. So, Jim Simpson signing off, and hope this is of interest to at least some of y'all. Thank you kindly.